Hello, my friends. So, just as the title says, you're trying to cut meat and dairy out. First of all, smart decision to cut meat and dairy out of your diet. But you're noticing some problems. Or maybe not you personally, it works beautifully right off the bat, but I bet you know some people, so whether this affects you personally or not, take notes and share this anyway so that other people in your life can get some benefit from it. That's why sharing is so cool. Sharing is caring. So, but for this video, I took some very awesome, copious notes from a very smart Dr. Michael Klaper. He's a medical doctor, but he's one of the good ones. He's on our side. And his website, by the way, is drklaper.com. That's DOCTORKLAPER.com. And basically, he posed this question to us. I was there live in the audience taking these notes. He said, have you ever been on a diet where you cut out all meat and dairy, and suddenly your energy wanes and you just don't feel like yourself? You're like, what's going on? I thought I was doing the right, healthy thing for energy, and then suddenly you reintroduce a piece of meat back into your diet, and suddenly, boom, you're just back to life. You feel great, energy is awesome, and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, here's some answers to some of that, and some ideas you can try to see if being dairy-free and meat-free is for you. And by the way, my website, because I got thousands of pieces of content on this, is TomBerkenmeyer.com. That's take out the space, all lowercase, TomBerkenmeyer.com. Hello, everyone. Camara, Nancy, Crystal, Karen. Okay, so please share this and get this out there. So going back to my notes here, he says the first thing that you need to consider, if this is you or you know somebody who's going through this struggle, a failure to thrive vegan is what he calls it. There's always, in his mind, there's always a reason why somebody might fail to thrive as a vegan. And here it goes. Number one, first you have to eat the food. So a lot of vegans will go on like a potato chip diet, something really unintelligible. They're not getting real food. Even people that are consciously thinking about real food, stuff like Amy's Frozen Dinner, he brought this up, and it's a good one because Amy uses healthy ingredients. Amy's Frozen Dinners are really healthy, but still, it's not quite real food as it comes out of the ground. You want to eat food as it comes out of the ground. And even as healthy as Amy's is, and it's okay to have those, but the bulk of your food should be real, fresh food, like fresh as possible, right out of the ground, as fresh picked as possible, real, fresh, whole food. So number one, why somebody may not thrive as a vegan is they're not eating the food. They're eating boxed food, even if it's healthy ingredients, and they're just not eating food as it comes out of the ground. And the notes that I took, he went on to say, the shakes, the frozen dinners, the granola bars, etc. Avoid the temptation in the grocery store when you're going down even the healthy aisle. You see Amy's and the other ones. His advice was to point at it, look at it, and say, you are not real food, and avoid that aisle. I guess it has some kind of a psychological effect to actually physically do that and say that out loud. And then just go to the real food aisles, or maybe the produce section would be pretty much as it comes out of the ground. The produce section is. Hi, Mel. Hi, Caitlin. Eat it as it's grown out of the ground. So some examples he gave us, and we can go on and on about this, but just for a couple. If you want some potatoes, you don't eat potato chips, you eat potatoes, and don't take the skin off. Eat it as it grows out of the ground. If you want some corn, don't eat corn chips. Eat some corn in the cob. Not canned corn, but as it comes out of the ground, corn on the cob. And don't put butter and salt and sugar on it and all that stuff. And make salad the main dish, because your salad is going to be basically food that comes out of the ground as it is. Hi, Michelle. But don't douse the salad with oil-rich dressings and other dressings that are bad. Oh, by the way, here's a tip for you. Google, also my YouTube, you can do the little search on my YouTube for oil-free salad dressings and make them from scratch. They're super simple, healthy, oil-free, and therefore you cannot have too much of it. It's awesome. Number two, the second reason that Dr. Michael Klaper gave us for a failure to thrive vegan, if that's been your experience. He said, you are what you eat is wrong. You are not what you eat. You are what you absorb. So there has to be some thought about what am I eating versus what am I absorbing. 32 of the best juicers are the ones that are in your mouth. He went on to say, as part of the absorption process, you need to chew your food. Everyone knows to chew your food. He gave some recommendations to help us chew our food. Our food is chewed thoroughly when it turns into a creamy-like substance, or like a juice-like substance, because 32 of our best juicers are in our mouth. It's our teeth. So we have to do that before we swallow it. So what happens if we don't chew our food enough? We don't break open the cell walls. The saliva in our mouth doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So therefore, the cell walls are still intact when that food gets to our gut. Our gut doesn't break it down the way that it should, and we do not get those nutrients that are in those foods, so we don't absorb it. So chewing your food enough into a cream-like or juice-like substance, it breaks open the cell walls, releasing the nutrients in these cell walls that we need to thrive as plant-based people. We can also do this by sprouting. I got some friends, one in particular, Mariah and Cheyenne, who are doing lots of sprouting right now with lentils, chickpeas, beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, and they've just got like a big old sprouting farm in their house. It's really interesting. But this is a way that you can break down those help with breaking down those cell walls by sprouting. So look into sprouting things. I'm going to do some videos in the near future on sprouting because there's a lot of health benefits in that, and I haven't really gone over that yet. Let's see here. Speaking of absorption, a lot of people fail to thrive as a vegan because they're not getting the iron that they need. That's a common one. Anemia is a common term thrown around. So to optimize iron absorption, you have it with something that's rich in vitamin C, such as an orange or different salsas. So iron-rich plant-based foods with vitamin C-rich plant-based foods, you make that combination when you're eating them, and you optimize the iron absorption into your body. Another common one that's missed for vegans is zinc. So they fail to thrive as a vegan. They don't understand why. Could be look at your zinc absorption, not just your consumption, because you're not what you eat, you are what you absorb. So to optimize zinc absorption, he recommended that you have foods, plant-based foods, rich in zinc. You have them in concert with garlic and onions. And the garlic and onions you want to chop up or smash a few minutes before you eat them, because it's the cutting up and the smashing of them that releases the chemicals that are anti-cancerous and medicinal for all that they're worth. But that's how you can increase and optimize your zinc absorption. Pretty cool, hey? Hi, Olive. Hi, Caitlin. Yeah, Caitlin, I will be doing more videos about sprouting in the near future, I do believe, because it's got enormous health benefits. So let's see here. Let's go to the next page. Skipping ahead of myself. Here's another really awesome tip he gave us. Cut up your cruciferous vegetables, such as those kinds of vegetables are going to be things like broccoli, kale, spinach, cabbage, your cruciferous vegetables. And let them sit for about 20 minutes on the chopping block after you've chopped them before eating them. Because like the smashed and chopped up garlic and scallions and onions, this is what activates the cancer-fighting properties. That's hugely important for obvious reasons. And also, here's something really cool. To increase nutrient absorption, especially of trace minerals and phytonutrients, raw nuts and seeds, have them with your dark leafy cruciferous vegetables. When you combine those foods, then you're optimizing the nutrient absorption of all the phytochemicals that are in the greens, and all the zinc and iron and magnesium and everything else that's in the nuts. So you're going to absorb those, because you're not what you eat, you are what you absorb. Hello, Kim. Hi, Christy. And all the doctors at this conference pretty much are on the same page on that, so it seems to be very pro-science to combine raw nuts and seeds with dark leafy greens and other cruciferous vegetables. That was like one of the biggest tips I could give you in this whole video. I think that one thing right there. Let's see here. You can assure mineral availability by sprouting and cooking. I already talked about sprouting, but cooking. And cooking, there has to be a balancing act. Like at least 51% of your diet should be raw plant-based food. So 51%, most of your diet should be raw. And then the other portion of your diet that you're cooking, if you are cooking at all, you want to cook enough to help break open the cell walls for easier digestion, but you don't want to overcook, because then you kill all the available nutrients and you get nothing out of it. and it could actually be toxic if you overcook your vegetables and other foods. So there's a balancing act. For most things, maybe a quick blanching or maybe between 4 and 6 minutes. Putting things in a wok is the best, walking. The next best is lightly steaming, then baking, and the worst is boiling. So you don't want to boil anything. But walking is the best, just for a few minutes, so that it's long enough to break open the cell walls for easier digestion and availability, because you are what you absorb, not what you eat. But not too long that you start killing the nutrition in them. Absolutely, Mel, watch later. This will be posted on my timeline and YouTube. Hi, Joy. Oh yeah, assure iodine sufficiency. This is another reason why a lot of people that switch to being plant-based vegan don't thrive, and they're wondering why. They don't have the iodine sufficiency that they should be having. So he gave a really simple suggestion for that. First, I'll tell you what he said not to do. Dr. Michael Klaper says, do not take kelp tablets. Kelp in tablet form for the iodine is too concentrated, and you'll overdose, and it can cause thyroid problems. So, according to Dr. Michael Klaper, stay away from kelp tablets because you could get thyroid problems. It's overdosing on iodine. So, he says eating sea vegetables a few times a week, just like 2 or 3 times a week, will give you the iodine that you need. Pure sea salt. Here's a myth he goes over. Pure sea salt has no iodine because it evaporates with the water. They pull all the water out of the sea, they let the water evaporate, all that's left is the salt, but also the iodine evaporates with the water. So even if it's the healthiest sea salt from the healthiest oceans, it still has no iodine, and so you're going to suffer an iodine insufficiency if you don't get iodine from eating sea vegetables. However, you can get iodized sea salt because the iodized sea salt has the iodine sprayed back in it. Here's another nutrient absorption tip, really cool one. Hi Annette, hi Sally, because remember you are what you absorb, not what you eat. Vitamin K. Vitamin K helps calcium to the bones rather than the artery walls. So plant-based foods that are rich in vitamin K, you eat those with plant-based foods that are rich in calcium, such as spinach. Well, to get the mixture of it, vitamin K, kale, spinach, and calcium could be almonds, for example, raw almonds. So if you combine those, like kale, spinach, with some raw almonds, and you eat those together, it's going to put calcium density back into your bones, strengthening your bones, and it'll take them away from the artery walls. Calcium buildup on artery walls is very dangerous. It leads to different heart attacks and strokes and atherosclerosis and tissue scarring and all kinds of things, endothelial cell damage. So remember that one. That's a huge tip, and that's also one common reason that vegans fail to thrive. Let's see here. High-fat diets. Oh, this is really good. High-fat diets clog insulin receptors, and it leads to high blood sugar. So eating an apple a day could skyrocket your blood sugar, because an apple, keep in mind, is generally pretty low glycemic. So if your insulin receptors are clogged and not functioning right, then eating an apple, eating anything, could skyrocket your blood sugars, and now you're insulin dependent. And that's why people on the paleo diet, I'll make another video about paleo more later, but not in this one, but paleo is basically a diet that's high in animal fat and protein, and they have to stay away from carbs in the paleo diet, very strictly stay away from carbs because their diet is so high in fat, because if they have a carb, their blood sugars go out of control. They're not healthy enough to handle carbs. Let's see here, and just so you know, your insulin receptors are important because as you eat food, it gets released into the bloodstream, your blood sugars go up, your insulin receptors need to be aware of that, and so they send out insulin and glucagon, and those are the two things that maintain healthy blood sugar levels. And if your insulin receptors are blocked or clogged from a high-fat diet, then you have a problem. Anything you eat is going to spike your blood sugar, and it's going to have a hard time coming back down. Therefore, you need to inject insulin intravenously into your blood veins to bring it back down. And that's basically type 2 diabetes. So high-fat diets, even if it's a healthy fat, even if it's extra virgin olive oil, raw, and raw coconut oil, you want a low-fat diet. And this is a pretty good conceptual tip he gave us. Don't be comfortably unaware. That's where meat and dairy wants you to be, is comfortably unaware. and this is important too, this goes to the heart of, oh, I switched to a vegan plant-based diet, but I don't feel so good anymore. So I'll introduce the meat back and suddenly I feel amazing. This, here's where he explains that, and I'll do the best job I can because I'm not a scientist, but what he did say made complete sense, so I'm going to share it with you. Dr. Michael Klaper said, meat is an acquired dependency, much like a drug, like heroin or cocaine. It's not a natural human diet, according to Dr. Michael Klaper. Meat is an acquired dependency, not a natural human diet. It's like weaning yourself off of drugs or cold turkey. Eventually, you can break the dependency. So he talked a lot about breaking the dependency. So here's where he got into a little bit of the science about it, because he is a medical doctor after all, one of the good ones. He said that you develop these microbes in your gut and other digestive enzymes that break down food, and based on what you eat, you set up the conditioning for the types of digestive enzymes and microbes that are going to break down food. So for example, you take a child that's raised in a vegan home, plant-based whole food nutrition, and that person grows up conditioning their gut to digest and break down that kind of food. And then you introduce something like meat, they might have a problem with it. It may not be the greatest thing. They could feel it right away. And vice versa. You have a child that's growing up on the typical diet, the typical American diet of lots of meat and dairy. And so from birth, they're conditioning their gut to absorb and digest those particular foods, those foods that cause other health problems like with your artery vessels, your endothelial cells, and increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke and inflammation over the muscle bellies of your entire body and joints, and the fires in your joints and all these other problems. So the key becomes to, if that's what you've been raised on, according to Dr. Michael Klaper, is switch to a plant-based whole food diet. He even said if you need to slowly wean yourself, that's fine. Like, just cut down on meat, cut down on dairy, little by little, every few days, every week, less and less, until you're 100% plant-based. And then by that time, you'll have created a conditioning in your gut, the microbes and the digestive enzymes, to be able to thrive on that kind of a diet where you do have more energy than you had before. You did all that stuff, and you feel better, and you're going to live longer, less likelihood of any disease, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that's how you wean yourself off of a dependency of anything. It could be cold turkey, which might work for some. Then others need to do a weaning process because there's a physical addiction at hand. As he said, meat is an acquired dependency, not a natural human diet. But you can eventually break the dependency. So those are all those ideas that Michael Klaper shared with us, Dr. Michael Klaper, to answer questions about why you might not be thriving on a vegan diet, and also what to do about it if that is the case, because ultimately we're healthier on our natural human diet, which is plant-based whole food nutrition. Pretty cool. Now, here's where I'm going to add my own 2 cents. He's much smarter than I am, so I'm not saying this to undermine anything he said. But I do know people, and I'm one of them, to be honest with you, that went for months, sometimes years, on a 100% plant-based diet, no meat, no dairy, none of that stuff. And slowly over time, over months and over years, it was making them weaker. It was causing some problems. And these are smart friends of mine. They weren't on the potato chip diet. They had a wide variety of all sorts of different plants, mostly raw, if not all raw. Very intelligent people on very intelligent diets. And for whatever reason, they were missing something. And I can't explain it. Michael Klaper didn't address it. I'm not sure he's aware of it. Who knows? And maybe he has an answer. If he does, he didn't talk about it at this particular conference. But then suddenly they reintroduced just a little slivers of meat back in their diet, and suddenly, poof, it's like, oh my God, that's what it was. I had to do that. And they didn't like it because they wanted to be vegan for the welfare of animals and also, for their health too. So there's nobody that I know of that can explain that. I mean, I'd like to know just for my own self. So if somebody's watching this and they got an answer or a resource they can point me to, please, I'm all ears. Just private message me or comment in this thread. I'd love to hear about it. But basically, with these particular people, it goes against what Michael Klaper is saying, in that just give it a few weeks, a few months, you can break the dependency of meat. But what about people that went years, That's more than a few months. So there's a little discrepancy there that I personally don't understand, and it would be cool if I did. So that concludes this video. I hope you got a ton of help from it. I'm going to go read the comments right now. If you guys have a question on anything, voice it now. I'm going to scroll through the comments. I'm also going to plug in my website and Dr. Klapper's website again so you can check him out. Dr. Klapper's website is drklapper.com, DOCTORKLAPER. That's DOCTORKLAPER.com. And my website, TomBerkenmeyer.com. Take out the space, all lowercase, TomBerkenmeyer.com. And I got thousands of pieces of content on this kind of stuff. So cherry pick whatever that can help you out. And I'm scrolling up through and share this because sharing is caring. People need help. We should be helping each other figure out what works for us individually. All right, let's go through. Hi, Jody. Didn't see you pop on. Nancy. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you again. I've been vegan for nearly a year and I feel great. I was just going to ask you, how do you feel, Nancy? Awesome. Shelly Kraft. Hi, Shelly. Crystal says, I eat roast beef almost daily but always drink soy milk. I never drink regular milk. Cool. I haven't had a glass of dairy milk in about 6 or 7 years. I was able to quit that cold turkey, to my surprise. I'm grateful for it. But I love plant-based milks, dairy-free, almond, coconut, hemp milk, rice milk, all those milks. Except soy milk is the only one I don't do. There's a lot of controversy about that. That seems to be pretty legit. Oh, and I also never add any sugar to it. I don't add sugar to anything. Christy Lopez. Hey, Christy. I didn't see you until now. Hi, Camara. Morning, Tom. Sorry, haven't been up to too much. Recovering from knee surgery and going to therapy now. Cool. I wish you a speedy recovery, Michelle. Remember, lots of plant-based whole food nutrition. It can really go a long way towards speeding up a recovery process. Absorbable nutrition, I should say, because remember Dr. Klapper said you are not what you eat, but you are what you absorb. And I gave a lot of advice in this video on different foods you can combine and how to make them to get the nutrient absorption. You'd love to hear about sprouting? Yes, I'm going to be doing videos about that soon for sure. I might even fly out to Las Vegas where I got friends doing all kinds of things with sprouting and just do some videos out there for you. That could be a lot of fun. Mariah, Cheyenne, if you're watching this, let me know how that sounds to you. And by the time I go back out there again, because they just started, they'll be much more well-versed and just be great videos. Plant-based foods I've been doing for a while. Everything one loves to eat can be made. Right on, Mariah. Hi, Becky. Didn't see you. Nice to see you. Mel, yes, you can finish watching this later, so it will be posted to my timeline on my YouTube as soon as I'm done. Thanks for all the hot tips. You're welcome, Marcia. And hello. Stacy, hello. Bonnie, Shauna, Kimberly. Okay, I am all caught up with the comments and so forth. So I'll hang out for another 1 minute, and if nothing happens, and I'll just say that this ran its course, and hopefully you got a lot of value and benefit from this that you can use and that you can share with other people, because sharing is caring. And you can still comment on this even after the live feed is over, and people will still see, and I'll still see too. Okay? In my next video, by the way, while I wait for this minute to expire, I'm going to be talking about edible skincare. How to get glowing skin and look younger by using edible foods that you probably already have in your kitchen. Toners, exfoliants, exfoliators, all kinds of stuff. That'll be a great video. I'm looking forward to doing that. And I've done others on beautiful skincare, but not like this. And this will be coming from what I learned from Chef Myra out of Las Vegas. She's a plant-based, whole food, vegan chef. Brilliant. Her food is amazing. She's a smart lady. All right, well, that's been about a minute now, and nobody really has anything else to say, so I'm going to end this now. TomBerkenmeyer.com and drklapper.com if you want to know more about the doctor that I learned from and thereby taught you from, DOCTORKLAPER.com. And share this, and have a beautiful day, and lots of kisses and hugs. Mwah! Take care, everybody. Bye for now.